Section 16 of a traveller's narrative written to illustrate the episode of the Bab. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Nicholas James Bridgewater. A traveller's narrative written to illustrate the episode of the Bab by Abdul L-Baha Abbas, translated by Edward Granville Browne. Section 16. O King, the gales of the mercy of the Merciful One have converted these servants and drawn them to the region of the divine unity. The witness of the faithful lover is in his sleeve. But some of the doctors of Persia have troubled the luminous heart of the King of the age with regard to those who are admitted into the sanctuary of the Merciful One, and those who make for the Kaaba of wisdom. Oh, would that the world-ordering judgment of the King might decide that this servant should meet those doctors, and, in the presence of His Majesty the King, adduce arguments and proofs. This servant is ready, and hopeth of God that such a conference may be brought about, so that the truth of the matter may become evident and apparent before His Majesty the King. And afterwards the decision is in thy hand, and I am ready to confront the throne of thy sovereignty. Then give judgment for me or against me. The Merciful Lord saith in the Furqan, which is the enduring proof amongst the host of existences: Desire death, then, if ye be sincere. Note Quran 288, 62:6. Endnote. He hath declared the desiring of death to be the proof of sincerity, and it will be apparent in the mirror of the King's luminous mind which party it is that hath this day foregone life in the way of Him who is adored by the dwellers upon earth. Had the doctrinal books of this people, composed in proof of that wherein they are, been written with the blood which has been shed in His way, exalted is He, books innumerable would assuredly have been apparent and visible amongst mankind. How then can one repudiate this people, whose words and deeds are consistent, and accept those persons who neither have foregone nor will forego one atom of the consideration which they enjoy in the way of God, the Sovereign? Some of the doctors of Persia who have denounced this servant have never either met or seen him, nor even become cognizant of his intent. Nevertheless, they said what they desired, and do what they will. Every statement requires proof, and is not established merely by assertion or by outward gear of asceticism. A translation of some passages from the contents of the hidden book of Fatimeh, upon her be the blessings of God, which are apposite to this place, will now be submitted in the Persian language, in order that some things now concealed may be revealed before the royal presence. Those addressed in these utterances in the above mentioned book, which is today known as Hidden Words, are those people who are outwardly notable for science and piety, but who are inwardly subservient to their passions and lust. He says, O faithless ones, Why do ye outwardly claim to be shepherds, while inwardly ye have become the wolves of my sheep? Your likeness is like unto the star before the morning, which is apparently bright and luminous, but really causeth the misguidance and destruction of the caravans of my city and country. So likewise he saith, O outwardly fair and inwardly faulty, thy likeness is like unto clear, bitter water, wherein outwardly the utmost sweetness and purity is beheld, but when it falleth into the assaying hands of the taste of the divine unity, he doth not accept a single drop thereof. The radiance of the sun is on the earth and on the mirror alike, but regard the difference as from the guard stars of the earth, nay, between them is a limitless distance. So likewise he saith, O child of the world, many a morning hath the effulgence of my grace come unto thy place from the dayspring of the placeless, found thee on the couch of ease, busied with other things, and returned like the lightning of the Spirit to the bright abode of glory. And I, desiring not thy shame, declared it not in the retreats of nearness to the hosts of holiness. So likewise he saith, O pretenders to my friendship, in the morning the breeze of my grace passed by thee, and found thee sleeping on the bed of heedlessness, and wept over thy condition, and turned back. Fini. In the presence of the king's justice, therefore, the statement of an adversary ought not to be accepted as sufficient. And in the Furqan, which distinguisheth between truth and falsehood, he says, O ye who believe, if there come unto you a sinner with a message, then discriminate, lest you fall upon a people in ignorance, and on the morrow repent of what ye have done. Note, Qur'an 49:6. End note. And it hath come down in holy tradition, credit not the calumniator. The matter hath been misapprehended by certain doctors, neither have they seen this servant, but those persons who have met him testify that this servant hath not spoken contrary to that which God hath ordained in the book, and recite this blessed verse. He saith, Exalted is he. Do ye disavow us for aught save that we believe in God, and what hath been sent down unto us, and what was sent down before? Note, Qur'an 5:64. End note. O King of the age, the eyes of these wanderers turn and gaze in the direction of the mercy of the Merciful One, and assuredly to these afflictions shall the greatest mercy succeed, and after these most grievous hardships shall follow great ease. But our hope is this, that His Majesty the King will himself turn his attention to these matters, which thing will be the cause of hope in our hearts. And this is unmixed good which hath been submitted, and God sufficeth for a witness. Glory be to Thee, O God! O God, I bear witness that the heart of the King is between the fingers of Thy power. If Thou pleasest, turn it, O God, in the direction of mercy and kindliness. Verily, Thou art the Exalted, the Potent, the Beneficent. There is no God but Thee, the Mighty, from whom help is sought. Concerning the qualifications of the doctors, he saith, But amongst the lawyers, he who guardeth himself observeth his religion, opposeth his lust, and obeyeth the command of his Lord, it is incumbent on the people to follow him unto the end. And if the King of the age will regard this utterance, which proceeded from the tongue of the recipient of divine inspiration, he will observe that those characterized by the qualities transmitted in the aforementioned tradition are rarer than the philosopher's stone. Therefore, the claim of every person pretending to science neither hath been nor is heard. So likewise in describing the lawyers of the latter time, he says, "The lawyers of that time are the most evil of lawyers under the shadow of heaven. From them cometh forth mischief, and unto them it returneth." And if any person deny these traditions, the establishing thereof is incumbent on this servant. But since our object is brevity, therefore the detail of the authorities hath not been submitted. Those doctors who have indeed drunk of the cup of renunciation never interfered with this servant, even as the late Sheykh Murtaza, may God exalt his station and cause him to dwell under the shadow of the domes of his grace, used to show us affection during the days of our sojourn in Iraq, and used not to speak concerning this matter otherwise than God hath permitted. We ask God to help all men unto that which he loveth and approveth. Now all people have shut their eyes to all these matters and are bent on the persecution of this sect, so that should it be demanded of certain persons who, after God's grace, rest in the shadow of the King's clemency and enjoy unbounded blessings, in return for the King's favour, what service have ye wrought? Have ye by wise policy added any country to his countries? Or have ye applied yourselves to aught which would cause the comfort of the people, the prosperity of the kingdom, and the continuance of fair fame for the state? They have no reply save this, that, falsely or truly, they designate a number of persons in the presence of the king by the name of Babis, and forthwith engage in slaughter and plunder, even as in Tabriz and elsewhere they sold certain ones and received much wealth, and this was never represented before the presence of the king. All these things have occurred because of this, that they have found these poor people without a helper. They have forgone matters of moment, and have fallen upon these poor unfortunates. End of section 16.